If you've never made homemade scones before, don't let them intimidate you. They're actually one of the easiest bakery-style treats you can make at home, and today I'm going to walk you through every step. We're making flaky nectarine scones filled with fresh summer fruit and finished with a rich brown sugar vanilla glaze that tastes like something you'd pick up from your favorite bakery. I create recipes that are always dairy-free, egg-free, and nut-free because my daughter has food allergies, but I never want those recipes to feel like they're missing anything. This should be the kind of recipe everyone at the table reaches for first. So let's head to the kitchen and I'll show you exactly how to make them. We're going to start by dicing some nectarines into small pieces. I like to leave the skins on because they soften beautifully while the scones bake and add such a pretty color. If your fruit is especially juicy, pat it dry with a paper towel before tossing it in a little bit of flour. That helps keep the fruit evenly distributed instead of sinking into the dough. Next, we're going to make our vegan buttermilk by pouring some dairy-free milk, apple cider vinegar, and vanilla into a measuring cup. I like to let it sit for a couple of minutes while I finish prepping the dough. The vinegar lightly curdles the milk, giving the finished scones an even more tender texture. Then, into a large bowl, we're going to whisk the flour, sugar, baking powder, salt, and cinnamon, and the zest of 1 lemon. The lemon isn't here to make the scones taste like lemon, it simply brightens the flavor of the nectarines. You can grab a separate whisk, but I'm just using a pastry cutter here to mix the dry ingredients before I'm going to add some cold dairy-free butter into the flour, and we're going to mix that until you have coarse crumbs with little pea-sized pieces throughout. The cold pockets of butter are what create flaky layers, so try not to overwork the mixture. The dough is going to look a little dry here, but don't worry, that's exactly what I want. Once the nectarines go in, they'll add moisture of their own. It's much easier to add another splash of milk later than to end up with a dough that's too wet. Once you have folded in the floured nectarines, take another look at the dough. If it still feels too dry to hold together when you squeeze it, go ahead and add another tablespoon of dairy-free milk at a time until it forms a shaggy dough. Waiting until after the fruit is mixed in helps keep the dough from becoming overly wet, which means your scones bake up taller with better layers instead of spreading too much in the oven. I'm placing the dough onto a parchment-lined baking sheet here, and I'm going to work it into a circle about 1 inch thick, and then I'm going to cut it into 8 wedges and spread them out on the baking sheet. And here's another little trick that I like to use. Freeze the scones for about 15 minutes before baking. Starting with very cold butter gives you those beautiful tall, flaky layers that make homemade scones look bakery worthy. While the scones are cooling, we're going to make the glaze. Melt some dairy-free butter, brown sugar, and dairy-free milk in a saucepan and let it simmer for about a minute until the sugar dissolves. Remove it from the heat and stir in the powdered sugar and vanilla, whisking until it's smooth. If it's still a little thick, add dairy-free milk 1 teaspoon at a time until it's thick enough to pour slowly, but it will still hold on top of the scones. And once the glaze has settled a bit, they're ready to enjoy. I love serving these while they're still just slightly warm. The outside has that delicate crispness and the inside stays soft and flaky, and every bite is filled with sweet, juicy nectarines. These are the kind of recipes I love sharing because they prove you don't have to sacrifice flavor or texture to bake around food allergies. Whether you're baking for someone like my daughter or you're simply looking for a great homemade scone, everyone deserves something that tastes this good. If you enjoyed baking with me today, I'd love to have you back. I share new dairy-free, egg-free, and nut-free recipes every week that are made to be approachable, reliable, and worthy of sharing around your own table. If you know someone who loves to bake or someone navigating food allergies, send this recipe their way. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with me, and I'll see you in the next one.